Don't sign a lease with someone without having this conversation, because the last thing you're going to do is sign a lease with somebody who does not have a financially stable past, and you guys break up for some reason and they're like, hey, I don't give a fuck because my credit's already fucked, so I'm moving out and I don't care if you get evicted. Hello everybody out there. For today, I wanted to do a video on, I guess, the top things that you should discuss in a relationship before it's too late. I guess that's what I'm going to call it for the sake of introducing the video. It's kind of like things you really need to talk about within a relationship. I kind of made like a general list. I think it's going to be informational. Again, it's my opinion as far as the time frame that I think is ideal to have these conversations. And I tried to list out, like I said, like the things that I think are most common that need to be discussed. Obviously, if I miss anything, let me know in the comments or directly, however you want to do it, because anything else would be kind of cool to think about. But without further ado, I'm going to kind of jump into my list. It's going to be kind of a funny video, hopefully, as well. So a little bit of seriousness, a little bit of humor, and we'll kind of go from there. So number one is, if you have kids, this is something you need to discuss, obviously, hopefully, before you actually go out on your first date. You would think it would always come up, but I can confidently tell you, I have had friends, and myself as well, I've gone out with people and it has not come up. But if you do not discuss it before you go out, you definitely should have the conversation on your first date. Please don't be that person who 3 weeks in or a month in, you're like, hey, by the way, I have 2 kids. And then it's just like, why would you not tell me that you have kids sooner on? So it's kind of a straightforward one, but I think it's something that's kind of important. The next one is going to be wanting or not wanting to have children. And by that, I literally mean, like, do you want to have kids? You don't want to have kids. As far as that time frame, I think it's kind of a hit and miss, but I do think it's something that you need to discuss before you get committed, like within like a serious relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, that kind of thing. Because again, last thing you want to do is be in a relationship with somebody, it's a year down the road and they end up telling you, I don't want to have kids. And you're like, well, me, because I do want to have kids, and I just censored myself, so you're welcome. As far as being committed, I feel like the average person is going to get into like a committed boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, and I say average because I think it's an average, within the first 1 to 3 months of dating somebody. So I would say that's kind of like your general time frame to have that conversation. Obviously, don't do it before you get in a serious relationship, but I feel like if you're drawing it out past that point in time and you're not in a relationship or a serious relationship, then it's a whole nother problem and a whole nother discussion. The next one is going to be religion and politics. And I'm going to kind of combine these together because I feel like they're kind of the same time frame. I really do feel like it's something that you should discuss before you get, again, in a committed relationship. The reason being, again, is I just don't think that it's always going to be something that needs to come up too soon. If you are someone who's really politically charged or someone who's really passionate about political points of view or your religious beliefs, then yeah, you might want to bring it up sooner. If it's really, really important to you, you got to be with someone who's a Democrat or Republican or a Green Independent Party person, or if you have to be with someone who's Catholic or Christian or whatever it may be, yes, if that's something that's like end all be all, then yeah, you might want to have that conversation sooner on in your dating dynamic than later, because again, you don't want to be with someone or be dating someone who isn't on the same page as you, and then you're like, I wasted all this time, and you've also wasted their time. But I feel like for the average person who's not like super politically charged or super religiously charged, I think you can kind of wait to have the conversation a little bit later on. Again, as I die. Excuse me. Good God. I think you can wait to have that conversation to about 1 to 3 months into your dating time. But again, before you get committed, because the last thing you want to do again is be committed to someone in a serious relationship and you're like, hey, by the way, I'm Christian. And if you're not Christian, I don't want to be with you. And then again, you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time, and it's a big circle. Now, the next one is one that I think is a very interesting time frame and a very interesting topic, which is your debt or financial situation or status. Now, if you're obviously very, very wealthy, because I'm not applying to you, if you're watching this video and you have hundreds of millions of dollars, thanks for watching, but I don't think that you are. So what I'm saying is that your financial situation, as far as like your debt and other things that are kind of coming along with you, that may be negative, or maybe it's positive, I don't know, but I think a lot of times debt's considered negative. Maybe you have a bunch of student debt, maybe you have a loan out on your car, maybe you owe money for a bunch of credit cards that you didn't pay off. I have encountered all these things in my time dating and being in relationships. As far as when I think it's important to have the conversation, I think you can have it at any point in time. I wouldn't have it like before you're in a dating committed relationship, but the point in time where I think you have to have the conversation is before you move in with someone, or before you get like shared bills or shared bills or shared plans with someone. So, excuse me. Don't sign a lease with someone without having this conversation, because the last thing you're going to do is sign a lease with somebody who does not have a financially stable past, and you guys break up for some reason and they're like, hey, I don't give a fuck because my credit's already fucked, so I'm moving out and I don't care if you get evicted because my credit's already fucked up. Which I feel like you might find that out in the application process, but you might not. Same thing. Before you get bills, same thing. You don't want to like get a cell phone plan with somebody or some other things like that, like financial obligation, and then you're like finding out they have all this debt and you're going to get stuck with the bill possibly, and you just don't want to get stuck in that weird situation. So make sure if you have debt, you don't need to bring it up right away, but do bring it up before you get, like I said, moving in together, before you get in a like any type of like financial conjoined, it's a good word, conjoined situation. From there, another kind of random one that popped into my head that I think I've experienced before as well, so I think it's important to like mention, is if you have outstanding relationships with your exes. And what I mean by that is not like you're dating your ex and all that kind of weird shit like that. But what I am saying is that maybe you're still friends with your ex, and again, that's okay, but maybe you're friends with your ex and you see them every other week, or maybe you see them every week. Maybe you work with them. I don't know what that actually means in every situation, but if you have some sort of outstanding relationship where you're seeing your ex on a somewhat consistent basis, or semi-consistent, I don't really give a shit, you need to have that conversation, preferably after the first few dates. Why? Because you need to give that person the time to process if they're okay with it. And also, again, it's not one of those things you want to like hide, because and I'm not saying that you're trying to hide it, but if you're waiting weeks or months or lots of dates, whatever it may be for you, to bring that up, it's going to seem like you're hiding. It's going to seem like you don't want them to know you have something to hide, and it's not really a good situation for you to be in. And again, it's not fair to the other person, because they might not feel comfortable with you being pretty close with friends with your ex, or maybe you work with your ex, or maybe you live with your ex. I don't know. So it's just a thing you need to bring up sooner than later and really let that person know so they can kind of make their own decision. The one that's kind of awkward to talk about, and I say it's awkward, no judgment for anybody who's in the situation, but I'm saying it's awkward because it's kind of a weird thing to like discuss, just being honest, just in the general society we live in, but is STDs. Now, I truly feel like the obvious answer is before you have sex, because, well, fuck, you have an STD, so I would want to know before I have sex with you if you have an STD, but I'm going to take a step further. I think that you should really do your best, and by do your best, I mean do it. Let the person know that you have an STD before you kiss them even, because that might be something that's very distrusting to them. Even if it's not spreadable in that way, even if it's not even a thing, you still should have that conversation. And that might suck because you might have a guy who's coming to kiss you on the first date and you got to be like, whoa, like either you have to just be honest and say, hey, I don't want to kiss you right now, and that's fine. Like you can just say that and then save it for later. But I would really recommend bringing it up before kissing, obviously before sex. If you don't do it before that, then you're just a piece of shit. Straight up, no bullshit. But you need to have that conversation because you need to give them the choices to decide if they want to have that type of intimate physical contact with you before they do, and based off the decision or based off the facts that you have an STD. Again, no judgment. Everybody lives a different life, but I'm just saying that's something that you need to consider and have that within your time frame. The next one is serious medical conditions or mental health issues. Now, serious medical conditions, I'm not saying like someone like myself, if I have asthma, it might come up on a first date. I don't know. But I'm telling you, like if you have a serious medical condition, like let's say you have cerebral palsy, or you have Lou Gehrig's disease, or maybe you have cancer, mental health kind of things. I would say maybe you have like PTSD because you're in the military. Maybe you have bipolar disorder. I don't know, whatever it may be. Again, no judgment. But you have these things going on. My true recommendation is somewhere between dating and getting committed. And by dating, I guess I mean you've gone out with them a handful of times and before you get in a serious relationship, because again, you need to give them that time to decide if they want to commit. Because the last thing you want to do, I'm being really honest, and it might sound kind of fucked up, but it's true. If I was dating a woman and I'm falling in love and it's 2 years down the road and we live together, excuse me, and she tells me, hey, I have this disease that is going to make it more debilitating for me throughout my life. By the time I'm 50, 60 years old, I'm not really going to be able to walk very much. I'm going to be very, very sedentary, and I'm not going to be able to do very much. I would want to know that sooner, because I have to make a decision like, hey, if I'm going to try and commit to this person and I want to like see where this goes long term, I have to make the decision sooner rather than finding out when it's 1-2 years in, when I'm like, I love you, I'm committed to you, I want to be here. Because then it's not fair, because I'm going to be the person who's like, well, I'm already this far, I'm already committed to you, I'm already in love with you, I don't want to be without you. So now I'm kind of like in a weird, like I'm kind of forced to do it, and it's not forced out of like me feeling bad, it's forced because I'm so committed and invested to this person. So again, not something that you need to bring up like right away, but it is something that I would definitely bring up before you become boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever you want to label your relationship as, just so you're giving that person ample time to get to know you and see if they really like you, because you don't want to bring it up, right away, in my opinion, either, because it's kind of uncomfortable. It is, because it's personal information, like telling someone like, hey, I have a serious medical condition, or I have a serious serious mental condition, or serious mental concerns. It's something you might want to not tell someone right away, because you're getting to know them and it's a very vulnerable thing about you. But again, you don't want to wait too long and kind of like put someone in a weird position where it's not really fair to them to make a decision on what they want to do long term with you. From there, another one's kind of funny, but I thought it was humorous because I have encountered it before. I'm going to tell a story that I probably shouldn't tell, but I don't care because it is funny and it's a great example, is your living situation. Now, I'm going to tell you, this could mean you live with your parents. This could mean you live with 10 roommates. This means you could live with your ex, whatever it may be. You need to have this conversation, ideally on the first date. And it isn't like a secret conversation where you're like, oh, I live with a roommate. Excuse me, you don't tell them, yeah, my roommate's my ex, because that's fucked up. That's not true. Or my roommate's my parents. Like, you need to have that honest conversation. And the funny story that I experienced was someone that I was dating, going out with. It was a very weird situation where I never got to see their room. And I didn't understand why, and I didn't see them that often. I was seeing them maybe like once a week because my schedule was so busy with school and work. But I ended up coming to find out that they actually lived in the master walk-in closet of their friend's bedroom because they were new to town and they didn't have anywhere else to go, and they couldn't afford a place by themselves. And that was something that didn't come up until a month and a half into dating them. And I was like, yep, well, first of all, it was very dishonest, really shady. It should have came up because I asked you, where's your room? And you're like, oh, it's in that room. And it's like all this weird, shady shit. So that was my weird, funny example. And then after that, I was done because it was like, I felt very, like, it was very dishonest and also really weird, like, not to be a dick, but like, I don't really like the idea of dating somebody or being in a relationship with someone who's in that situation. That's my personal preference, and that's okay, because that's what I'm going to do. From there, another one I thought of that I think is really important. I think it's something that's kind of random, and maybe we don't think about it all the time. Again, no judgment, because everybody lives their own life. But if you have a criminal record, you need to make sure that you are having this discussion sooner than later. And the reason why I say that is because I've asked multiple female friends, because I really can't think of a situation really that common where a woman would tell me, like, I have this criminal record, and I'd be like, oh shit, I'm out. Because that's kind of the idea, is like the deal breaker idea. I really can't think of too many. I feel like most women, if they have like a criminal record, usually it's like, oh, I stole something from a store. And like, I might not like that, but I don't feel like I'm going to be like, this is it. But if you're a dude, especially, and you have a criminal record, whether it's for assault, robbery, burglary, I don't know, grand theft auto, murder, I don't know what it could be for, whatever it is, if you have a criminal record, criminal convictions, and you actually have those, even misdemeanors possibly, have that conversation, because you need to have it sooner than later, because it's really not a fun situation for someone to find out from somebody else, or for them to not just know. When I asked women, though, they told me that they wanted to know. Typically, the answer was before having sex or sooner in the dating process. The reason being is that, like, verbatim, I heard it multiple times, was literally like, I want to know who I'm going to get into bed with, so I want to know if you've done some crazy shit in your past, like, just because I don't want to have some type of violence committed against me. I want to know if you're an aggressive person, or maybe you have an aggressive past. I just want to know what's happening before I get in that vulnerable situation. So that's my consensus on that as well, based off of the people that I talk to. Another one kind of ties into the medical conditions. If you have an allergy, like, especially if you're allergic to, like, literally, this is the important part of it, like, specifically this, if you're allergic to dogs or cats, because I can confidently tell you, if I'm going out with somebody and we're in a relationship, I would want to know if you have an allergy to dog or cats. This is kind of a funny, dumb one, but it's true, because I have, a fat puppy, and I'm not getting rid of my fat puppy. I'm not going to not have you around my fat puppy. So, and I know she's in the next room and be like, why is he calling me fat puppy? But if that's the situation, I need to know sooner than later, because I need to tell you, like, hey, I have a dog. The dog's not going anywhere, and if you can't be around it, I understand, but, like, this isn't going to go anywhere. So that's something that you need to just discuss, I would hope, within the first few dates. I'm not going to tell you an exact time frame, But the first few dates is kind of like the appropriate time. I don't think it's like a terrible thing to say, but it is obviously going to be a deal breaker for a lot of people. So that's one more. And then for the very last one that I have, this is a very specific one to me. It may not apply to everybody, and I'm okay with that because I understand that everybody's going to have different like things that are like deal breakers or things that they don't want to deal with someone that they're dating. But for me was your education or work experience, because for me personally, just me personally, and like I said, it sounds kind of rude, but it is what it is. If somebody tells me I didn't graduate high school, or I haven't gone to college or been to college or pursued a higher education, slash I haven't really worked anywhere in a career, I haven't worked my way up, I'm not establishing myself within a career or starting my own business or like doing something with their life in general, which because these kind of two different paths of education or working your way up in a company or just progressing your career path or starting your own business, whatever it is, it's all in that same thing of progressing your life path and just like as an individual creating something for yourself. If someone tells me that and those things don't apply, I want to know that, and I feel like it's appropriate to have that conversation on the first date. And it may be a little embarrassing, and I understand that, but again, if it is embarrassing, I think you kind of have to look within and be like, why is it embarrassing? Because if you didn't go to school, it's fine. If you didn't graduate high school, it's fine. I have lots of friends who didn't go to college, community college, or anything. I have met lots of people who did not, and are great people who didn't graduate high school. But I can confidently tell you the majority of them who I am still friends with or have contact with or see have done something with their lives or careers or their own businesses where they've tried to progress and they're trying to do more and achieve more regardless of the education. But it's one of those things where I think it's not going to apply to everybody, but for me, it's kind of one of those deal breakers where I want to know that, because if you're not a motivated, goal-oriented person, I want to know as soon as possible, because that's where my mindset is, and I want to be with someone with that same kind of mindset. So those are the however many things that you need to discuss in dating sooner rather than later. If you didn't watch the whole video, it's okay. I upload all of these to YouTube. The whole idea of doing these videos and making the channel on YouTube and all these other like little social media handles is to help 100 million people. Whether it's in small ways or big ways, the idea is to help 100 million people. Whether it's brightening someone's day, changing their life, or just making the relationships with friends, family, significant others better. That's what I'm trying to do. If you got any good quality content out of this video, I would ask you to please share it. If you thought it was funny, please share it. Whatever you want to do, tag someone, share it directly, however you want to do it. I greatly appreciate it. One more thing I haven't said for a while is if you've watched these videos on YouTube, I don't edit my videos. There will be no editing. There's actually one video, I apologize, that I uploaded recently where I did actually edit out a little bit. And by edit out, I mean I accidentally cut it to put the beginning of the video where it's like the catchy hook, and it made a weird transition. That is the only edit you'll see in any of these videos. The reason being is because I want to be authentic. That's why I don't ask you to like and subscribe to my stuff in these videos or on YouTube, because this goes onto YouTube. Because if you want to support me in that way, it's great, but I don't want to be like a generic YouTuber where I'm cutting my shit, where I'm asking you to do that stuff, because I'm trying to be an authentic, good human being. That is the whole name of the game. If you do want to ask live questions, this would be the time to do it. I do answer live questions right after the videos. The live questions are on Facebook as well as twitch.tv. The Greater Than Movement is the name for everything pretty much at this point in time. So you can find me on there if you want to ask live questions. If you don't want to ask them live and you want to ask me a different way through social media, DM, in the comments, I will message you back, whether it's about this topic or any topic. I do these live streams where you can ask live questions or watch live Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. That is kind of like my little thing right there, my little box of my information. I'm going to answer some live questions. So everybody who watched live, thank you for watching. Everybody on YouTube who watches the video, I greatly appreciate it. So for the YouTube friends out there, stay healthy and stay safe, guys. And remember, be greater than. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye.